All right, well, we're ready. I mean, it's official.
We are ready.
Are you singing now? Jesus.
Oh, you're recording as well.
I mean,
how many times have we done this?
well, Stephen, let me help you out with that. Okay? Let me help you out with that.
Hey! Look at that. Wow.
Mate, is that
700 episodes.
Is that preparation or what? Are you with me?
Look at that.
Look at that.
We're going to do a thumbnail too. Thumbnail.
Yeah, we really
thumbnail.
need to do a thumbnail this time.
Have to do a thumbnail.
Yeah. Can you lean this way so people can see the 700? Thanks, mate. We don't have to lean. You just need to be in the centre.
I'm lined up, mate.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm lined up on my position.
You were leaning over the zero, though. Yeah, see, don't do that. I spent a lot of time and effort on those.
That is awesome.
Down here as well.
Mate, that's great.
You like that?
Yeah. You got the streamers going.
Gold streamers.
They're not animated, though. They're just static.
No, the background's static.
Okay.
We've decided that.
Right.
Sorry, you want the streamers to be moving now. Oh, Jesus.
Very nice. Little balloons. They're 700 balloons.
They're balloons, yeah that's right.
Wow.
There it is,
eh? So it's, so let me guess. 700 episodes we're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. I figured we'd talk about it now. I shout out to Angus who called us both this morning. And,
very nice call.
Very lovely. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated.
He's a long-time listener.
Something that dawned on me while speaking to him.
Dawned on you?
Because he said it's obviously more than 700. I said, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it's 700 and change.
So I went to ChatGPT and I said, here's one for you. Because I like to speak to ChatGPT like it's, in the room.
Do you give it a name?
I don't just say do this. I like to,
Yeah.
Anyway, so can you calculate how many weeks there have been since the 22nd of February 2011?
Very smart.
Mate, I didn't ask it for its workings, but it gave me the workings.
Wow.
Including, by the way, taking out years where there was leap years and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of calculations. Anyway, the suggestion is that it's been 760 weeks in one day. So, and I was thinking about that. Okay, 60
weeks.
I thought, hang on, did we miss 60? But you think about it, we definitely have had like a week or two off a year. Plus, we did 3. If you think of 3 CES shows for just 10 years, but it's been 12 or more.
It's been a while.
Plus, we used to do some like extra IFA shows, and we've done a few extra shows there.
Yeah, we have.
I think we'd be pretty close to 760 in reality.
Did we count? Do you remember the ones we did for Telstra? Were they? Remember the Telstra and we've done BMW?
Well, they were just BMW was a special, but Telstra we did.
That was just our show.
That was just our show at their office,
and it was at an iPhone launch too. iPhone Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so it's 700 official episodes, but it's many, many more than that.
Yeah, I know.
In reality. But
we're recognising 700 this week. Because last week, 699.99999 last week.
That's right.
But this week is the official 700.
Yeah. Happy anniversary, honey.
Happy anniversary, mate. 700. Do you remember the first, we used to record over Skype?
Yeah.
And this was pre-NBN, so it was pretty crappy.
It was pretty crappy, yeah, because we had, you had Optus cable, I had Telstra cable, and so you get like 100 meg down.
Was rubbish.
You get 100 meg down, but you get like 1 or 2 up.
Yeah, it was rubbish. Yeah.
And the up was the problem.
And you always just say it's my connection, not yours.
It was.
You had the Grouse Telstra HFC cable, and I had the...
You had Optus HFC?
Yeah, it was the one run along on the
That's HFC.
telegraph pole. Yeah, no, but my upload was rubbish. You had better upload speed.
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah. They gypped me on the upload.
Big Pond uploads were pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, here we are, mate. I can remember, we do it on... what night would we do it? It was early in the week. When we first started the Two Blokes podcast, I hadn't kicked off my Tech Guide podcast.
Right.
So that came a year later, and 4 months later.
I was already doing Your Tech Life on Thursdays.
Right.
So I feel like we were doing it early in the week.
Yeah, I think it was like a Tuesday night we were doing it, Tuesdays.
I wonder if it was in my diary.
You look back to 2011.
How do you go back to
February 2011?
Pick a date. I don't even know how to find a date on...
Would it be in your diary? Did we mark it in our diaries?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know. Anyway, you talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, but I can remember... Because Tech Guide came in 2012. June 2012 was my first Tech Guide episode.
Stop making this about Tech Guide, mate.
No, but I'm just... my point is that whenever I post a story about... the Two Blokes podcast, in WordPress you got your categories.
Yeah.
So one of my categories.
Because I remember when I was updating your
it
site.
It said podcast, which is Two Blokes. And then there's Tech Guide podcast, which came later.
Yeah.
Right? So
we've gazumped the tech guide.
Yeah, there you have it.
I didn't have it in my diary.
No.
It's pretty disappointing, actually.
Yeah. Well, and are you at SBS then, or still at 2GB then?
SBS.
SBS.
Yeah. I left 2GB in 2008.
Oh, okay. So was that long?
Yeah.
Geez, you were at SBS a while then, weren't you?
8 years, yeah.
8 years.
7 years, 9 months, something like that.
The Penske file was great, eh?
Mate, I exploited that for everything I could. Thank my super funds. Thanks you.
That's good. So, mate, yeah, it's we've recorded in all sorts of places, at all sorts of events.
Many a country, many an event.
Mate,
remember that little back room?
Remember that back room in Surrey Hills? Yeah.
I thought it was at Fox Studios.
No, Fox Studios. I think we recorded. There was a Foxtel announcement. Remember, like a big launch of the IQ box or something. Yeah. And I think we were in a stairwell near out in the open, somewhere quiet.
Okay, yeah.
And there was
that storeroom somewhere.
Yeah, that was in Wentworth Avenue in the city.
Yeah.
There was. I think it was. I'm trying to remember the company. Was it an LG event or something? And we were out the back, and there's like a little, like a fenced in, and it's like a storage area. And behind a fence, they got their kegs and all this other crap in there. I think we took a selfie.
We did. I think we did. Yeah.
So look, we've had photos in all. Like we took a photo. Remember on the Great Wall of China? Remember we were in China?
That's true.
We were in Paris last year. We've been in Berlin, Vegas, San Francisco, New York. Mate, where else? Barcelona.
Yeah.
So we've recorded in just about everywhere we've been. Hey?
Yeah.
In nearly every continent.
Definitely.
Yeah. So no, it's been good, mate, and it's.
There's been a lot of emails this week asking for the minute reviews to return.
Minute reviews, they were like 5 minutes long.
Remember, I put a ticking clock on them once.
And the minute reviews, good luck. They were anything but a minute. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, we've come a long way, mate.
We've come a long way.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of things.
Yeah, well, and look where we are now, mate. We're videoing it. This amazing studio, and people are watching and listening.
We appreciate your support. It means a lot. There's been a few messages dribble through this week, and it's been lovely to hear from people.
No cakes yet, though. No cakes. We're going to get
probably
some
a
cakes.
good thing if we're real.
Yeah, the last thing I need is a cake.
Yeah. I bought we had people round, and Amanda bought some. I'm a very picky ice cream eater, so what a shock! I would normally just have like a bullet, vanilla creamy, just a plain.
Yep.
And she bought a tub of like chocolate connoisseur or something, and I went, that's too fancy for me. But I had a spoonful. That's quite nice.
See, mate, if you try it, you might like it. Anyway, I've been saying that to you for 15 years.
And then, like 4 nights later, Harry went to have something, and he's like, "Where is it?" I went, "Mate, I ate it all." Anyway, so 2 weeks before we went away last, I went to do some shopping for the office, and I bought a tub, had it downstairs. I just have a little bit, mate. I got home from wherever I was last week, and on Monday, I just went, there's only this much left.
Oh,
that was morning tea.
Boom.
So what I don't need is a cake around the office now.
That's true. Yeah, although you know what, it's a nice gesture.
Sure.
When it's only Joe and I at home, but years ago when the kids were still at home, they'd smash into the cake, but there's no one.
Someone, well, shout out to the person if they sent them for this reason, but someone sent brownies to the office 2 weeks ago because Gary, who runs Point. It's called Point. They do point of sale. They do point of sale for Arlo across the way.
Yeah, nice. That's right. You remember saying.
If I'm not here, I'll text him saying, mate, you can use the car spaces just to park out the front.
Yep.
And in return, he grabs parcels if they're out the front. Anyway, he dropped them around when I got back, and there was this, please refrigerate, open it up, and it was this cocoa and bean, open it up with all these fancy bloody brownies.
Wow.
But they were gluten-free. So I'm like, oh, man. So I took them home.
Someone's paying attention.
And Amanda's like, babe, don't bring these things home because they'll just get eaten. Kids will just, hold them down because they don't have self-control. Yeah, but they don't have self-control.
Oh.
We don't need them ballooning out to dad's size. So, if someone sent them, there was no note.
Oh, it was just anonymous.
There was no note.
Wow. So did you eat any of them? Or?
You know what? I didn't. Because then Amanda threw them out.
So not one person ate them?
No, the kids ate them.
Kids smashed them.
I think 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 disappeared very quickly.
Oh, it's because we were in Berlin, were we?
Oh, but this is when I got back. Gary gave them to me and I took them home.
But they were delivered while we were away?
Yes.
While you were away?
Yes. And then I got them on Monday and took them home off Friday.
Nothing. Anonymous brownies.
Yep, completely anonymous brownies.
Show yourself, whoever sent the brownies.
If you sent the brownies, let me know. That's all I'm saying.
Gluten-free. They must be listening to the show.
Well, that was the dead giveaway. I was well, who did this? Someone knows me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Maybe I'll get some Star Wars merch or something. Send me or give yourself some Souths merch.
All right. Well, happy 700.
Happy 700.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate it. And we'll keep the celebrations going for the rest of the episode because why not?
Let's do it.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Not a bad price.
With Trevor Long from EFTM.com.
Really handy device.
And Stephen Fennick from TechGuide.com.au.
Great to have your company. Episode 700. I nearly said 100. Episode 700. Thanks to the wonderful people. Arlo and Netgear, long-time supporters.
Great supporters
of this
ours.
show.
Yeah.
So shout out to Heidi and the team at Netgear, Brad and the team at Arlo. Brad was at Netgear and moved to Arlo when they kind of hived it all off and it became separate companies and all those different things. And
they've been proud supporters ever since. And,
legitimately, Netgear's been here since episode
they've been
3,
supporting
I think
us.
it was.
Yeah, supported us brilliantly.
That's all we ask is that you consider them
if you are making a choice in
your
that
shopping
area. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't ignore the brands that are out there, especially when they're supporting people like us.
Oh, yeah.
Because it makes the world go round. It's really important that we talk about the iPhone right now. Because
because a new bunch of iPhones are coming out.
We talked about it last week, but here that. Oh, no, that's the wrong button.
We've
Trevor.
got them.
I'm having an absolute shocker. Where's the top? There it is. Boom. There they are. There's your what's happened there?
That's where they were.
Auto feed. See,
that's where they were, mate.
I'm out of.
So what do you got here?
iPhone 17.
What colour's that? Is that the lavender?
Forest green.
Forest green. Is it what?
I don't know what it's called, but it's green.
Lavender's pink. So that's.
It's green.
Okay, green.
I don't know what they officially call it. Okay. You're the colour man.
I'll tell you.
This is the iPhone Air.
Is that white?
No,
blue?
I think it's the blue.
Sky blue.
That's the icy blue.
And that's cosmic orange.
Cosmic orange. iPhone 17 Pro.
Deep blue.
I don't know what it's called, but it's definitely a deep blue. iPhone 17 Pro.
Confirm
Max.
that for you now, mate.
So they're your contenders for the iPhone business this year. Look, there's a lot to unpack here. I want to start with the iPhone,
mate. That
Air.
is Sage. Is that what?
Sage, the green.
Sage. Yes.
The iPhone Air, even in a case. Do you feel in the case?
So that's in Apple's case.
That's in Apple's case.
Yeah, that's still
feels
slim,
super
slim.
They've nailed that. They've absolutely nailed that. There's no question. It's just
amazing.
been so well done.
Look at
that. I said from the start that it feels in the hand just impressive, as does the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge. You get it, you feel it, you use it. It's unbelievable. It will sell numbers based purely on people grabbing it in stores. That will sell.
Normally that's what happens. I'm going to put this back here.
Yep.
Normally that's what happens. And I've got to say, the iPhone 17 Pros, which are the unibody designs, mate, they are striking because unibody means it's really clean. Like you look at so let's look at the 17 here, right? See how there's a frame, there's the glass, there's the bump, and it's
there's
all
a line around
different.
the frame.
Whereas you look at the Pro, and all around, like all the edges,
look at this.
Yeah, it is just pure. There is, I think, a great idea to have it as a unibody.
And, it's not something Apple's struggling with because they've been doing it for years.
Mate, these laptops in front of us are all unibody, aren't they?
They've been doing it for a long time.
They know what they're doing. That looks really impressive. I like the fact that it's all one piece.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
Yeah, they've done a very good job of that.
Yeah. So, that's the...
the Air is a fascinating one for me, and I go into this in a fair bit of detail on all the different reviews I've written across the place. But it's beautiful, it's impressive in every way, and one of the things that I do have in my video is a bend test of this device.
So you're literally trying to...
No, I do this. Like I can do it for you now just for funsies. Yeah. I can go, okay, let's try and bend it right. And look, it bends. You can see that, Stephen.
It's flexing.
It's flexing.
Yeah.
So in our briefing at
Does Apple
Park,
encourage this, by the way? They did it in front of you.
So what they did was they handed us looked like a black box the size of a phone, and they said using this motion, so thumbs and push, just try and bend it, right?
Yeah.
And what it did was this had sensors in it, and that would come up on a screen. It would say how much force you're putting in. The strongest person in the room was Peter, who you've definitely met at some things, a photographer dude.
Yep.
He did, I think, 32 kilo was the force, and they said, okay, we'll double it, and they put it in a machine, and this machine had like metal bars. It was holding the iPhone like this, and it had two prong levels coming across it.
Really?
And it pushed down, and it bent like all heck.
Really?
Like bent, all right? And then it just flexes back up.
Wow.
And they put it on the table, and it's just flat again.
Yeah.
So this is a very smart strategy by Apple, right?
Yeah.
They've released a video you would have seen by now at the time of listening of this happening, right? I kind of wish I could show it to you right now, Stephen, just so that you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know the video you're talking about.
It's just the fact that they went, okay, let's I'll turn my volume down just in case it has my voice, but the fact that they have released this video, right?
Wow.
To the world, look at it bend. That's a solid bend,
solidly,
right?
Yeah, wow.
You'll find it on my social media, right? But the fact that they've released that straight away, it says we want to get ahead of this jerry rig everything.
Exactly right. Because how many times were you asked that before today? How many times were you asked, will this thing bend?
You feel the 17, and like you do that to the 17, just not too much force, but just do it, right? And you just in your hand, you feel a big difference just doing it with that phone, with the Air.
Yeah.
So it bends. So the question, does it bend? Yes, it does. The question is, will it break? No, it won't.
Right. Well, it doesn't bend, it flexes, I reckon is the more accurate. It flexes.
Sure.
Bending to me suggests
a permanent state.
An angle that it's going to stay at.
Yeah, so a bend is a permanent state.
It's flexing means it's going to return to its original state.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's genius. I think it's genius to get ahead of that.
Smart of them to do it. You know what? Samsung never did that. No. And you got asked the same questions too, and I said, "Look, I've not tried to bend it, but I can bend. You give me any phone, I'll bend it for you."
And have you seen the jerry rig video of the Fold 7?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Dude gets the Fold 7 at the hinge, and tries to bend it,
and it doesn't,
and it does not break.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's how strong the hinge is on the Fold.
Exactly right.
So, I've got no doubt that people will bend test this, but I think Apple's
beat them to the punch, mate.
Beat them to the punch, of taking that away.
What the emphasis, the durability emphasis, I think is smart as well, and they also gave that to the pros as well.
Yeah,
remember there was that shot of the phone flying through the air and hitting coins and glass and all that, right? Like they're trying to emulate your pocket.
Yes.
So how many times have you put your phone in your pocket? There's keys and coins and whatever in there.
The number one problem I have with my iPhone, which is that one over there, is there's little scratches on the screen from keys. I'm sure it's keys.
Mate, I reckon it's from putting it face down on a surface, and there might be some tiny little bit of a speck of dust or dirt or grit or
it's
something.
Just bloody keys in my pocket.
Yeah.
I really do.
And you know what? And despite the fact that they're saying over the years it's the strongest glass on a smartphone, yet it still scratches.
Ceramic Shield 2 front, Ceramic Shield back. Even that glass back area of the Pro models.
Right. So on the Air, is that Ceramic Shield on the back too?
Yes.
Front and back?
Ceramic Shield back.
Have you got any scratches on this thing yet, mate, or what?
No, I can't see any. But I did keep it in the case until today, basically, when I took photos of it.
Let me have a look for you.
Go for it. There's a microfiber over there.
Cloth over here.
Yeah. Look, it's only been like 5 days, so I don't expect many. But I always scratch phones. The screens always scratch.
Let me turn your screen.
And they don't take long either. Here's the thing.
Not one.
Before we talk about the 17, right? Before we talk about the 17, because I think it's a critical conversation. I am so torn now as to what to do next, because you and I know.
Which phone do you use?
Yeah, so I intentionally went, okay, I'll use the Air for the entire pre-embargo duration, because I want to test everything, battery life, and having your SIM card in there, using it as your TikTok, whatever you're doing, it's everything, right?
Yep.
And now it's like, okay, I'm done with that. I don't need. Breaking news. Yeah. I'm sticking with the Air.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Pro, because you're normally not a big screen guy. And that's a big screen phone.
It's big, but it's not massive.
Well, it's bigger than the 17.
It's bigger than the 17 Pro, but it's nowhere near as big as the Max.
Yeah.
And, mate, come on.
Yeah.
Weight-wise,
The difference is,
what are we doing?
night and day,
That's night and day.
It is, yeah.
So am I going to miss the zoom on the camera of a Pro?
Perhaps not.
Maybe.
That's an interesting little top-down if you want to just show the difference in thickness.
Yeah.
Bring
it up.
You can see the Air here.
Yeah.
And that's the Pro Max next to it.
It feels half. It feels half the thickness. It's crazy.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Wow.
It really, really is crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a super impressive phone.
So your pick of the bunch at this point is the Air.
So this is the what do you call it? First world problem. I've got all 4 phones. Which one am I going to keep using? Very clear distinction between which one am I recommending you buy.
Yeah.
So if I have all 4 and I've got to pick a daily drive, I'm going to stick with this for a while.
Yeah.
Because I want to remember. I want to find out how often I do begrudge not having the camera.
Yep.
B, I'm not going to put a case on it because I think it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it looks beautiful.
And so far, your daily use, you said a few days.
Yep.
Battery, no problem?
No problem. So,
because you think about it, right? And the camera plateau, as they call it,
yes,
that they do put it to use. That's sort of extra space for.
Yeah, but as you predicted, that is exactly what they're doing.
But they're using it on the Air to fit the camera system, but also to fit a bigger battery, so they can move stuff out of the body.
To put more stuff in there to put it out.
So in the Pro case, they're using it for the vapor chamber and the bigger battery.
Now, yes, for comparison, Apple quotes the Air as having 27 hours video playback time.
Wow.
For comparison, the iPhone 17 has 30.
Right.
That's not a lot more.
It's only 3 hours less.
Remember, that's video playback, local, no network. So it's a lot less in real terms.
Yeah.
The iPhone 16 base model, 22. This has more battery life than the standard iPhone 16 a year ago.
That's impressive.
So there's a couple of things.
But again, that's Apple's words, okay, not real world testing. Although I can't imagine there being a battery issue with that one.
The iOS 26 battery page is phenomenal, by the way.
Right.
It shows you whether you're above or below your average.
Oh.
Like it goes orange and says you're above usage for this time of day.
Ah, right. Okay.
Like by this time of day, you've normally not used this
and that's
much.
an iOS 26
I'm pretty
feature.
sure that's just an iOS 26 feature,
nice.
right? But so today, and I've charged this a few times, so that's not relevant. But there were days where I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
You know that. And I used the phone as my absolute normal everyday phone.
Yeah.
And, mate, I got to 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it was maybe I'd used 75% of the phone.
So that's
12 hours and still 25 at least
still
percent
25 left.
So basically, what I've said is this is an all-day battery. I validate Apple's claim that it's an all-day battery. Because to me, all day means when you get home, that's when you charge it.
Yep.
I can get through the entire day.
You can go to bed and just
go to bed and
overnight.
charge it.
Yep.
You might get to a point where if you're having one of those nights where you get home at 5 or 6, you have dinner, and then you've actually got 3 hours to chill and you just scroll on TikTok, it's going to burn through the battery, right?
Of course it is, yeah.
So anyone that complains about this battery life has never used... they're coming from a Pro.
Yeah.
Because I've used a Pro for pretty much as my iPhone for most of the year when I've had an iPhone.
Yeah.
So I've been spoilt for battery life. That's the truth.
True. And these Pros, by the sounds of it, biggest battery of all time.
Yeah.
And they'll last for days by the sounds like a couple of days.
Yeah. The Pro Max is quoted at 37 hours battery life. 10 more than the Air.
And obviously being the biggest one in the lineup, it's going to have the biggest battery, right? So
that's right. Not as big as America, though.
Oh, because they've got no SIM card tray.
And they've got no SIM card tray, so they jammed
which
a bit
is
of
also,
extra battery.
speaking of which, the iPhone Air, no SIM card tray.
And
if you want to listen to Tech Guide, my podcast, I'd sort of led it with the fact that I reckon this is the first move for them to say, right, here's what the next iPhone's going to look like, no SIM card tray.
So I reckon the conversations with Apple executives and people that we know probably had to have these meetings with telcos and the like, going, we're going to go eSIM. Well, how do you feel? And the telcos here will be like, whoa, careful.
You reckon?
Yes, because we're not ready yet. Aldi Mobile, not eSIM. There's a lot of carriers that are not eSIM ready.
Mate, how long is it going to take them to get ready, though?
But America went this way 2 years ago. So what Apple, I reckon...
Wasn't it longer than that? Isn't it the 14, 15, 16? They've been
3
SIMless?
Yeah. Apple, I reckon, has said, well, here's what we'll do. We'll go all eSIM on one phone so you can hide out all your bugs.
Yeah.
Work it out, get your customer service right. So they've got a year.
So do you think a customer who's buying the iPhone Air is on Aldi or on Kogan? Or
that I said that to one of the telcos today. I said it's not a major issue.
To be with a major telco.
Each one of the big three has a sub-brand that has eSIM. Kogan Mobile has eSIM, Boost Mobile has eSIM.
Oh, Kogan does have eSIM?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's lots of eSIMs out there. It's just, so Aldi Mobile is a great example because a lot of people use Aldi Mobile for their family plan, right? The issue isn't Telstra stopping them or Aldi not wanting it. It's a huge technological leap for Aldi because what you have to do is you have to have a technology back end that allows it, that supports it so that you can, and you'll find this out if you go eSIM, it's fine to get to eSIM, but then moving phone to phone on eSIM, not iPhone to iPhone, easy. But iPhone to Samsung on eSIM,
it's more complicated.
There's a little bit of waiting you've got to do in the Vodafone app and different things. Telstra have the best process. You just, if you so if I want an eSIM here right on the iPhone Air, if I was to switch now to a Samsung, I would simply, and I was on Telstra, I would simply set up the phone, the Samsung phone, get it online, download the My Telstra app, log in and go, and it just downloads the eSIM and puts it on it. It just gets it going.
Okay.
Vodafone's a little bit clunkier than that. Right. Optus is more similar to Telstra than others. So Android to iPhone and back and forth is a little bit of a challenge.
How often is that going to happen?
But it's entirely possible. The big three
among us, it happens a lot.
Yes. But iPhone to iPhone is actually way easier than you would think. Yeah. I had it in my head that I would check the process, learn the process, and teach people the process before Friday when they get their iPhone Airs. So on my older iPhone with the SIM card in it, I went scroll through the settings, convert to eSIM. So you go settings, mobile, click on your line, and then scroll down, convert to eSIM, and it follows some steps. It activates. You'll get, like on Vodafone, it says put in your account PIN number. Put in your PIN number. Yep. It sends a text message. You type that in, the 6-digit code.
Yep.
FYI, little bug in the system. If you get the text message from Vodafone which says, here's your code, don't auto-complete. Type the code yourself.
Right.
So I got stuck in this loop where it just wasn't working. And they said they think it's because of the autocomplete, so try typing it in yourself. So that's what I thought you'd have to do. So then you're on an eSIM on your old phone, and then when you set up your new phone, you convert it over. It's actually way easier than that. Yeah. When you set up the iPhone, part of the process is what's your Apple ID. You type your Apple ID, you type your password, and then it says, well, we've identified these phone numbers on your other phones. Yeah. Tick it we tick which one you want to put on this phone. I tick the box. It activated. It said, "What's your Vodafone account number?" Boom. What's your PIN number? Yep. What's your SMS code? Done. It was working within minutes.
So passcode, and then it sends you a code.
Yep.
And then your SIM card
is dead.
Just dies.
Yep.
So the little piece of plastic does nothing.
Absolute rubbish.
So you can't just hang on to that and put it in another phone because it's been decommissioned.
That's right. Yeah. Right. Okay. So your whole account has been moved over to a different SIM. In this case, as an eSIM.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's smart for Apple to maybe do one like that.
Yeah,
because it'll be their little. Okay, here's our indicator.
It'll iron out all the bumps for the telcos. It'll iron out all the bumps for communication and learning.
Mate, I'd love to talk to someone off the record and say, mate, has Apple told you they're going fully eSIM next year?
iPhone 18.
That's what I reckon too.
eSIM only, because then it's not one model for the whole world. Because by the way, not just eSIM, but the American model has a little antenna on the top here for the millimeter wave 5G.
Of course, yeah. Which we don't have.
It broadly will mean that they can free up space for the SIM slot, bigger battery. That's a win. So I'm with you. I think iPhone 18 eSIM only.
Mate, I think that this is the biggest indicator for a long time. It's going to be like the headphone jack. We're going to be talking about the SIM card like the headphone jack.
Because it will introduce. Samsung will be able to do the same thing.
Oh yeah, and once Apple do it, Apple's normally the brave one to do that. Remember when how courageous it was? And funny enough, that when they released the iPhone 7 with no headphone jack, there was the AirPods launched. They said, we've got some wireless earphones. Well, hey. So, it's going to be... every other company will follow suit. Yeah.
Before we talk about the 17, the cameras on the Pros are exceptional, 48 megapixel
48,
on all three of them.
Yep.
But here's the weird thing. iPhone 16 Pro, 5 times optical zoom.
Yeah.
iPhone 17 Pro, 4 times optical zoom.
Okay.
All right. The actual lens is 4 times optical zoom, and then you can do an 8 times optical zoom, which is a sensor crop.
Right.
It's 24 megapixel photo instead of 48. So actually, we went just slightly backwards.
So is that on the Pro? But the Pro Max?
Pro and Pro Max are both 4x
is that all?
optical, 4 and 8. So in the camera, it shows as 8.
Right.
You can do 8, but 8 is just a digital crop of the 4 in the sensor.
So it's not the actual.
The actual glass is 4x.
That's a bit of trickery.
Yeah.
So can they call it technically 8x optical zoom?
Well, it is because it's using optics, not it's pure optics into a sensor.
But cropping in on the sensor's optics.
But if you're set at 48 megapixels and you do an 8x, it's half the file size of a 4x.
There you go.
And look, the camera's
but each one of them has their own role. Like one's wide angle, one's
wide
telephoto.
angle, ultra wide, wide, and telephoto. Right.
Yep.
I took a bunch of photos. Probably not as many as I would like to have, but just you don't get a lot of time. But the photos are definitely better because you've got the 48 megapixel option.
Yeah.
Video is also better.
Yeah.
But I still argue it's not as good as you would hope from a true optical, sensor. I think there's still work to be done on the video side of things, and honestly, for that reason, because you can do a 2x on this. Because it's the same 48 megapixel. It's a sensor crop.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw an interview with Greg Joswiak saying, if you think of that as a single lens camera, you're not thinking of it properly. There's actually 4 focal lengths because you can do the 18 mil. Mate, no one is talking focal lengths. Okay, everyone's talking zoom. I'm talking real zoom, folks. How far? If I'm watching my kids play baseball, how far away can they be for me to get a photo of them? And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's the Achilles heel of this phone, the Air.
Yeah.
Is the single lens.
Single lens.
However, the most remarkable thing about all 4 of these phones...
I know what you're going to say.
...is center
stage camera. The front camera.
Bruh, as the kids would say. You've got to turn it on. You've got to turn on auto zoom and auto rotate. But... look at this. If I'm going to take a photo and you, it won't work because you're not kind of coming into the photo, but you've got 4 options. So I've got a selfie and I've got a wider selfie, right? Hey, narrow selfie, and then I can go. Okay, let's go widescreen.
Widescreen, hey.
Widescreen, narrow.
Because of the square sensor.
And that's real. That's real.
But
lenses.
I can remember I watched a little video by a photographer who was looking at the cameras.
Yeah.
And he said, no, center stage is remarkable.
It's remarkable.
And
across all 4 phones.
Yeah, all the same. So same camera.
Yeah, 18 megapixel.
Or same one across all 4.
And by the way, remember, it's 18 megapixel square, so you're probably still only getting a 12 megapixel photo. Let's be real about the numbers.
The photographer brought up an interesting point. He said that there's a square sensor so that you can go wide or you can go deep.
Yep.
So it's all there, right? He goes, but you can't take a square photo.
No.
On the front camera.
Nope.
You think, well, why can't you use the whole thing?
Yeah.
Square.
My guess is that I don't think you're ever using, if you look at it as a square, I don't think you're ever using the corners. My guess is that the lens, because it's such a small, that's the front camera, actually morphs that. Like it wouldn't be a good photo.
Yeah.
But what I would argue is, can we get the square sensor on just the wide angle, not the ultra wide or the telephoto? Because the one thing that content creators, if they want to get content creators who they have at these events going nuts, the ability to just film a video like this and have it also show me the vertical in the same frame.
Mate, if they can shoot, I don't know if this is even physically possible, if they can shoot, you know how they got the front and back camera shooting at the same time?
Yeah.
So why can't they shoot at the same time portrait and landscape?
That's right. You need a square sensor, and you need to show it on the screen, but show it to me, baby.
And then have both versions ready to go. Mate, why haven't they done that? Because you can choose then, there's your YouTube video and there's your TikTok video.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mate, that's a game changer if they do that.
Huge.
Yeah, wow.
So that's what I'm excited about.
That's the iPhone 18.
So, look, the Pro is tempting and teasing me, especially because I love the orange. By the way,
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's, you know what, in person, it's not as garish as I thought it was.
It's also nothing like the. Remember the dummies?
The dummies were
because it's metallic.
Yeah, true.
This color on the back is actually more like the dummy.
And the cases too. You got cases that sort of create some contrast, eh?
Yeah, this woven case.
Yeah, look at that.
is gorgeous.
Look at that, and it stays pretty flush, eh?
It's got a good kind of fabric style
So
feel.
they've gone
to
away
it.
from leather, haven't they? Leather feel.
Leather and that. Remember that other woven thing they did, which was
Yeah.
rubbish? They were falling apart. That's gorgeous. That's a really nice.
Wow, that is nice. Look
That's
at
a
that.
really nice. Oh, sorry, I wasn't putting it on you. And then this is a clear case for the Pro Max. So,
Hang on, it's got a white panel on
yeah,
it.
it puts a white panel on the
Why?
back. I don't know. Make it fancy.
Can you get one with no white panel on it?
I'm sure someone will make one. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so look, the pros tempt me greatly, but I think, and I know that you already agree with this because you hinted at it.
Well, the colours I got this one in.
Yeah, you
Pro,
got the
I
other
got
way
Pro
around, yeah.
Max in orange.
Yeah.
I got the Pro in blue, and I got a black Air, and I got a blue 17.
I don't want to hate on it, but I think you'll hate the black Air. I used it in a content room, and I just it doesn't jump out at me.
Doesn't pop.
But let's talk about this. Okay.
Yeah.
This phone,
I think
is
this is
probably
the secret winner.
this is the most remarkable iPhone
Yeah.
in terms of bang for your buck and features they've ever released. This phone has a 6.3-inch screen,
Yep.
same as the Pro.
So slimmer bezel.
Instead up from 6.1. It is ever so slightly taller than a 16,
Yep.
just a millimetre or two.
Yep.
It has 48 megapixel cameras, both.
Dual cameras,
It
yep.
has the 18 megapixel square
stage.
center stage front camera.
Yep.
It has 120 hertz refresh
Pro
rate
motion.
down to 1
Yep. Yep.
1 hertz and always on display, which the 16 never had.
Yep.
It has 256 gigabytes of storage, up
Yeah,
from 128,
that's the
and it's the same
starting memory.
price
Yep.
as the 128 was
Really?
last year.
Ooh.
Yeah, last year the 16 was 1399. It was 128 gig.
Yeah, yeah.
This is 1399 and it's
256.
256.
And there's 256 and there's a 512.
Yeah. But just talk about the $1399 phone, the cheapest 2025 iPhone.
Mate, that's
Other
the
than
best,
16E.
best value.
It's his pro level. The only thing.
And that's Apple Intelligence. That's got everything too. Yeah.
This will do everything this will do
Yeah.
except 4 times zoom and the 8 times optical crop.
And the pro level video and like ProRes RAW
Tell me-
and stuff like that.
How
many users going to
Tell me who's using that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
No, you know what? I got to agree with you. I reckon the best value phone is that one, without a doubt.
I don't see myself recommending
Yeah.
anything
That
this
does the trick.
to 95% of people.
See what's happening here. Apple's becoming a victim of its own intelligence here, right? Because you think about it, all the features on the 17 now were pro-only features 2 years ago. So where else are they going to go? And it's not like they've invented new pro features for this year's pros. This has just inherited the pro features. The screen, the center stage camera, the back cameras are excellent as well.
Yeah. Apple, so last year you had an A18 Pro chip in the 16 Pro. This is an A19, this is an A19 Pro. So you could argue that the A19 is probably not as powerful as the A18 Pro was, but honestly,
this has got one extra core of GPU or something, yeah.
Tell me someone that notices.
Yeah, nobody.
You won't notice.
Nobody.
This thing's beautiful. This is a beautiful phone.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think that would be...
Pick of the bunch.
If someone said, well, what phone would you recommend? I'd say the 17.
So I had a caller this week it's actually next week on the EFTM podcast, because I said to him, mate, I can talk to you under embargo. Because he was asking he was buying a new iPhone for his 15-year-old daughter on her 15th birthday. And I said, don't tell my daughter, because she's not getting a new iPhone on her 15th birthday. That didn't happen. And I said, mate, the Air is beautiful. Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I said, but does she have Snapchat? And does she do 0.5 selfies? He goes, yes. I said, and she said to him, Dad, my phone's only got one camera on the back. So this is the phone he gets her.
Yeah.
Okay, because this has the 0.5.
I'm
it has
buying
2x
that
optical
for my mum.
through
I'm getting
crop.
that. She wants I'm going to get her a new phone.
Yep.
We're buying an iPhone 17.
It's a beautiful phone.
Yeah.
It is such good value. Such good value.
Yeah.
Really, really
And
impressive.
it's got the same ceramic shield too as well.
Yeah, on the front.
You haven't scratched this one up, have you, mate?
No, I barely used it. Took a few sample photos. This is about its biggest run.
It's got the always on display. It's hard to make it go black.
Yeah. It's not scratched, mate. Relax. Just trying to
You've done well. You've done well. That is nice. I like. You know what? And that being 6.3, good size.
It's
so
a
it
fine
was 6.1
size.
last year.
Yeah, 6.1, and the
6.3.
Pro that I used was 6.3.
So So
120 hertz refresh rate.
So the Air is 6.5.
5,
right?
yeah.
So does that not feel big in your hand?
It does.
It doesn't feel thick.
But the
feels big.
thinness of it helps. And the lightness.
So that's the trade-off.
Yes.
So
it's light and thin.
Your issue with having a big phone.
I'm okay holding something that doesn't have a lot of girth.
Makes you feel right at home.
That's what she said.
That's So you're saying that the thinness and lightness is the trade-off that you are happy to have a big screen phone.
At this point,
for.
I'm gonna push on with it. Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's big.
Don't you think that's a beautiful phone?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's nice. The black is not going to pop. Is that white or is that blue?
I think it's the blue.
You sure?
So I'll read my loan agreement. Talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Yeah, I'm getting I got the black one. Yeah. So it's yeah, I've got to say, very impressive. It's more impressive in the hand than it is. And no photo can do it justice. It is remarkably thin.
I am absolutely convinced. Yes, that's sky blue.
There you have it. Wow.
1 terabyte sky blue.
It's very subtle blue.
Jesus,
very subtle blue.
This is the 2 terabyte.
But I could have sworn that's white. Do they have a white one? How white is the white one then?
It's pretty white, yeah.
Yeah, that's blue. Are you sure?
This is a $3,799 phone. This is the 2 terabyte.
2 terabytes. Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
I just checked. iPhone Air comes in sky blue, light gold, cloud white, and space black.
Mate, I'm telling you, that's cloud white, my friend.
No, mate, it's sky blue.
How is that blue? That's
iPhone
the
Air.
most subtle blue ever.
Yeah, it is. If you see it side by side with the blue, you'll see that it's blue. I can see it's blue. Look at it compared to the white back of that
I suppose.
Pro Max. When you actually see it on white.
I've got to say, I'm not a fan of the white panel on the back there. Like, show me the phone. I want to see the colour. Show it to me.
Steven's
What's
blowing
with
up.
this white panel? And that's in there. You can't take that out.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. You'll deal with it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of there's the bumper. There's the crossbody straps.
Oh, I'm sure you'll see you swinging around town with this crossbody strap on,
Yeah,
mate.
good luck.
Hey? I'd pay money to see that.
So there's iPhone Air
with the bumper.
in a bumper.
All right, so there's your blue bumper. That's blue, the bumper.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't know if I'm colourblind or not, but I'd swear if someone said, is that white or blue, I'd lose a bet.
Put it up against your shirt. See how blue it is?
Okay, all right. Now that you say that.
If you're doing a white balance, don't use that phone.
Be a blue balance.
Yeah.
Okay, the bumper's interesting, isn't it? First one since the iPhone 4.
Yeah.
Antenna gate.
Yeah, don't hold it a certain way.
Jeez.
Wouldn't want the drama. But that's the amazing thing. Like, there's antennas built into so many different parts of these phones.
Yeah,
now.
isn't it around the plateau?
Yeah, it's around the plateau.
There? Yeah, even on the air as well.
I don't think it's on the
edges.
air.
It's on the edges, I reckon.
Yeah.
Now, there is a battery for the Air, isn't there?
Yes, I have it here.
So, and it only works with the Air, we discovered, didn't we? So it only
I put
works
it on,
with
works
the Air.
fine.
Yeah.
But it's just not the right
It's
size.
not the size, mate. That's right.
Sorry, I'm doing this without people seeing.
Yeah.
If you're listening, bad luck.
So there's the battery.
This is the battery that fits beautifully on the Air.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, Apple quotes battery life on their website with the battery as well. So it says 27 hours or 42 hours with the... Like, don't... Just stop. What are you doing? And so you can't take this battery and put it on your wife's Pro or Pro Max.
Not at all.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, so it's only for the Air.
Yeah.
And it fits absolutely perfectly. And when you look at it, it does add a bit of thickness to it. But
Well, it's a battery for crying out loud.
Yeah, not too
But
much.
then
But don't you reckon, is that
charge the phone,
is that
for Christ's sake.
an admission of defeat if Apple
That's
has to
why
put out
that's
a
their
battery?
biggest fail is they've gone with a great preemptive strike on Bengate.
Yeah.
But this
And
looks
then
like
added a
they've done a
battery.
preemptive strike on battery when they don't need to.
Yeah.
It's got an all-day
Well,
battery.
maybe some would, like say that you've been at work early, you're going out that night, you haven't got time to charge it, then that's an option, I guess. But
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think they're just you can buy. Can't you buy MagSafe batteries for these other phones, or is it other brands sell them? I know Belkin have got.
Oh
stuff.
no, Apple definitely have them.
Yeah,
Yeah, they definitely have them.
interesting. But yeah, I would have thought that. The battery. Here's a battery that just works for the Air. Says that there's a worry about the battery.
This is a fascinating iOS 26 feature here. When you go into tinting, you can now set the tint based on the color of the case.
Oh my god!
So when I can't test it with any other case, but I wonder if you could trick it into having the woven case on, but you can have it based on the colour of the phone, the colour of the case, or your own.
How does it know the colour?
Well, because when you put a case on, I'll do it with the woven.
It's the MagSafe one.
Yeah, it's a MagSafe case. When you put this on, the screen goes the colour of the case.
Yeah,
see?
of course. Yes.
Boom.
Yes. Okay. Right.
Do you reckon?
It's built
Do you
in.
get to take that case off for a second? Let's do this live. Taking the bumper off is a bit difficult. Will this fit in here at all? No, it won't. I can't.
No,
can't
mate,
get it
you're
in there.
dreaming.
I was just hoping that I might be able to trick it.
Use the Pro Max one.
What colour was
clear,
that? It's clear though, so I can't really do the colour matching.
It's white. It's white as well too, mate.
Anyway, it's a silly little feature of iOS 26 that you can make your icons match the theme of your actual case, which is just wild.
Yeah. So you're sticking with the Air for the time being?
I'm going to stick with the Air because I enjoy using it. But as soon as I get frustrated by the camera, which will probably happen in the next 2 weekends watching the kids play baseball, I'll be like, oh man, I couldn't take a zoom.
Can't zoom in.
So that will probably frustrate me.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll soon find out. Anyway, iPhone 17, you can read my review at EFTM.com. There's going to be a lot of videos put out by a lot of people over the weeks and months ahead here. But bottom line, we agree. The two blokes agree. Yeah. iPhone
17's the go-to phone.
Is the pick of the bunch.
Value, features, performance, boom.
Pro-level features just a year ago, let alone 2 years ago.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think that's going to go nuts this year.
Yeah, good on them. $13.99 for the best phone of the bunch. And $37.99 if you want to go crazy.
2 terabyte, the top of the line.
Yeah.
Most memory.
Spec it up.
Boom. And the $17.99, it starts the Air. You know what? That's reasonable.
I think that's pretty good value.
What was the
It was $15.99, the Plus.
No, the S25 Edge is, I think, more expensive.
Yeah, I think it's like $18.
Yeah, it's $18.99.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the S25 Edge, by the way, has a SIM card slot.
Yes.
And is 0.2 of a millimetre thicker. Yeah.
Hard to
I'm just
notice,
waiting
though.
for the comparison videos to come out after tomorrow.
Yeah. Good luck to them.
There'll be a few of them.
There'll be a couple.
Maybe even one from me.
Oh, goody up. Can't wait. Two Blokes Talking Tech.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Two Blokes Talking Tech is proudly supported by Arlo. And you know what? Arlo, great place to start if you want to start building your security system at home. You want to get some cameras. You might want to get a doorbell, a wired floodlight. The great news is that you can, on the Arlo website, you can bundle and save. And exactly what it says. Bundle more products, the more you save. So if you are putting together a doorbell and an essential indoor camera, a Pro 5 2K camera, a solar panel, a wireless floodlight, then you can save. The more you spend, the more you save. Up to 20% saving. So if you're spending over $1,000, you'll be able to save even more. So if you're 500, I think you're saving 10%. You spend over 1,000, it's 15%. You spend over 1,000 or 1,500, you get 20%. So if you are thinking of starting your journey in the security camera space, then give Arlo some consideration and they'll look after you with a bundle and save deal. You can see all of that at arlo.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
All right. Yeah. Have you ordered the 2 gigabit plan?
Mate, you know what? I spec'd it up online and it was because I've got a VoIP line with it. So I spec'd it all up. I said, this,
you can't do
I want
VoIP.
this. No, I can.
Oh, you can?
There's a $0 phone line because I only receive calls, right? I don't make any calls. I only receive calls.
Yeah.
$0. And then I get down to the bottom. It's $169, but I get to the bottom and it said $189 and no installation fee needed. And I said, "How's it $20 dearer then? I can't see. I don't need a new modem. I want the $0 system." So
we're talking about the NBN speed boost.
I'm with Aussie Broadband.
Yeah.
So the speed boost that all I got was the 50 gigabits per second up to 100 gigabits per second upload speed, which is okay.
That doubles the time getting this show done.
Yeah, better than nothing. But they do have a 2 gigabit per second plan.
Yeah, you're right. It's 160. It's for the first. You know why? It's just the first 6 months, but you're already a customer, so it's $189. That's
Really?
why. Yep.
Oh, is that written in there?
The $169 is for the first 6 months. It's $189 after the promo period, but you're already a customer, so you
Why
wouldn't
can't
get the
I
promo.
have the promo period?
Because you're already a customer, mate.
Oh, I might quit and come back.
Yeah, leave. Go to someone else.
Is that right? Did I read that wrong?
Well, I think it was probably just poorly worded for you, but yeah, that's the price.
I'd still think about it.
$60 more for double the download speeds. When are you ever going to notice that?
Yeah, I know. Well, the beauty of it is there's no contract. I can move down if I wanted to. So.
Yeah. I mean,
there it is, $189 a month after promo.
I was very happy to get the extra upload speeds.
Yeah, we've doubled up. That's not bad.
What have we? Be inside baseball. We're going to have 3 EV shows, a movie show, and this show and the private. So we had 6 podcasts to upload.
Yep.
It'll be tomorrow. It's not happening tonight.
Yeah.
That takes time. Like you watch YouTube with the upload, I'm like, God, that's going to halve the time. Well, maybe not half, because you've got to remember your connection to the internet is not the same as your internet's connection to YouTube or wherever you're up, Dropbox, whatever it is.
But it's a move in the right direction.
But it'll make a big difference.
Yeah, like audio. Like I uploaded Tech Guide and it was noticeably faster.
Yeah,
it was fast to begin with, but I'm thinking, wow, that was quick.
I mean, in theory, it's double, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and here's my biggest tip. I was looking at it and going, so let's say you were on the $250 plan, right?
Yeah.
And you're paying, what is that, with Aussie Broadband, that's $119 a month.
Yeah.
And you've just been given an extra 500 megabits per second. You're now on the 750. My tip, ring Aussie Broadband and say, can I go down to the $95 a month plan, they're thus saving $24 a month.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting double the speed. I'm getting double the speed I was getting last week.
Before. Yeah. But did you notice?
That's
look at their
unbelievable.
website. They got the 100 plan, which is still $85.
Right.
And they've got a 500 plan, $85. So how does that work?
Well, I don't know.
If you're coming in fresh and you don't want...
No, it's because fibre to the node. See down the bottom it says fibre to the node, building curb.
Okay,
They're not. People on fibre to the node are not eligible for the 500.
Yeah, true. Okay, so the green is okay, nice.
Yep.
Well, I was just thinking they're trying to make it so that you can't go back and get a cheaper plan. They've kept that expensive as well.
Yeah, but have a look how expensive the 50/20 plan is. It's $93 a month.
Yeah,
it's $2. It's $2 more to go to 500. $2 a month.
Wow.
To upgrade to 500. That is
all fixed line
remarkable.
Types. Wow.
That is remarkable.
Well, it's interesting how the decision to do it. Obviously, we're using more data. We're connecting more devices, and sort of and I wrote up NBN officially made it official with their the speeds and the reasons why. But the amount of data we're using, I think on average is like 460 gigabytes a month. And it increased year on year. It's increased to over 500, so just more than 10% in a year.
Yeah.
So they're predicting within a decade we're going to be over 1,000, 1,100 gigabytes. So like what's that? A terabyte a month.
Yeah.
Of data, plus the number of devices that are connecting to the internet. I think on average it's about 20 or something, or 25, which is a lot. Hey, you think about it. That's average. So I think you and I got way more than that.
A little more, yeah.
So you just imagine the amount of connections, and people who have just been moved up to these faster speeds, they'll notice a difference in the how fast their smart devices respond, how fast they're browsing, they're gaming, streaming.
Yeah.
So good on the NBN.
I think it's awesome.
It through.
It's fine. My mum doesn't need it. I'm not going to upgrade her. It's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And the thing is, it's 9.8 million homes that can get this, but not all of them have actually got the fibre. So honestly, put your address into the website.
Yeah, worth
and
it.
if you can get the fibre upgrade, and you're on 50, like your Aussie Broadband, you're paying $93 a month for 50 meg. Yeah. You've just got to commit to paying an extra $2 a month to go to 500, and they will do the fibre upgrade for free.
Yeah, it's part of the deal.
It's absolute insanity.
Yeah. No, well worth it. I think, good on the NBN for doing this. This is very generous of them to do that. Well, just, you know what? It just shows that what the network's capable of.
Yeah.
Like the capability. We saw during COVID, remember Stephen Reel was chatting about how they upped it a bit for everybody. And this just goes to show that the backbone of the network is actually quite strong.
Absolutely.
And that fibre is actually amazing.
Yeah, lots of people doing speed tests this week going, yay,
Yeah.
it's faster, let's go.
Well, that's what I said in my story. I said, if you haven't done a speed test, do it now because you'll be surprised.
So that's our recommendation, folks. Do a speed test. Check what you're getting. And also take the opportunity if you're inclined, do some life admin and shop around. Remember, you can change internet providers without anything happening in your home. You just ring up and say, I want to switch to you. They do the switch in the back end and it all happens.
Yeah, you got to go.
The deals like
company.
Tangerine and TPG, I found when I did Today Show this week, they had deals under $70 a month for the 500 plan.
Yeah.
6-month introductory deals. But at the end of the 6 months, switch to someone else.
Well, I've got one of my advertisers, full transparency, Spintel. They've got a 500 megabits per second plan for $74 a month, and that's an introductory price, goes up to $84, which is still pretty good.
Yeah. I think
there's plenty of choices.
Definitely the best deals I saw were Tangerine at like 68 and TPG at like 64. Again, introductory prices, right? But
still, they get you in. But even the normal price is still pretty cheap.
Yeah.
You're going to save money.
But in 6 months, set an alarm and change. Like if you go Spintel for 6 months, then Tangerine for 6 months, you just keep shopping your 6 months around.
What about all the email addresses you've got to set up?
Don't start, you idiot.
I knew that'd get you.
Honestly.
What about my email address? Ooh.
That's what you've sounded like for like 10 years. That's exactly what you've sounded like for 10 years.
It's all good, mate.
Yeah, now it is because you finally did it, you big lazy cahoot.
I've got an Aussie Broadband email.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, come on.
Why?
Because it's there.
Are you using it for anything?
I am. Yeah.
What for?
None of your business, but I'm using it.
What are you using it for?
I'm using it. Yeah, I'm using it.
Why?
Don't worry, why?
Is it your OnlyFans login?
No. OnlyFans? What's that? OnlyFans? No.
Two Blokes Talking
None of your
Tech.
business what I'm using it for.
Mate, I'm so curious. That is the dumbest thing you've ever done.
It's there. It was there.
You've gone away from a massive problem.
Why did you climb the mountain? It was there.
That's nothing. You'd never hear me say that. That's what makes us different.
There you go, mate. There you go.
Two Blokes Talking Tech.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
You have gotten older during the 700 shows.
I have, and get newsflash, so have you.
Yeah, look at the photos from the early days. We do it all thanks to the great people at Netgear, and this NBN upgrade is the exact reason why you need to check your speeds, because if you've just now got 500 megabits speed plans from your telco, do a test on your Wi-Fi. You might be getting 120 in one room of the house, 250 in another. What are you doing? You're paying for something you can't get. That's because you need better Wi-Fi. Bottom line, the Wi-Fi that comes with the internet provider supplied modem is probably not going to cut it anymore. You need to look for a mesh Wi-Fi system or a Wi-Fi 7 system. You need to look for the best. Netgear is the best, and you can find all their products at netgear.com.au. Get a mesh system and Orbi to cover your whole home in Wi-Fi so that you're getting that 500, 1,000 or even 2,000 megabits per second.
Wi-Fi 7 too. Wi-Fi 7.
Everywhere in your home. You deserve it. You're paying for it. You deserve it.
One thing you mentioned during the iPhone chat.
Yeah, Wi-Fi 7.
Wi-Fi 7. Hello, finally.
Whee!
Yeah.
Yay.
Wi-Fi 7.
So your Netgear products can now work with your exciting new iPhone 17.
There you go.
Well done. All the details at netgear.com.au.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
The eSafety Commissioner finally handed down the details of the rules for internet companies like TikTok and Meta around the social media ban. Now, let's be clear, it's less than 3 months before these rules come into place on December the 10th. And these companies have only just been given the rules. The rules state that these companies must take reasonable steps.
Yeah, that was it. Reasonable steps.
Reasonable steps to stop under 16-year-olds having accounts on their platforms. Now, they do go into a bit of detail talking about what those steps might be. They give some kind of case studies of pretend companies and how they might do it. And broadly, it's exactly what we've talked about. We're not going to tell you anything right now. We're not even going to go to great detail on this right now because we talked about it 4 weeks ago. Yeah. It's all the same.
But they're
allowed to guesstimate your age based on your usage. They're allowed to use facial or other assurance technology to determine how old you are.
Yes.
But they're not allowed to just ask you for ID. That has to be an option for you to take, but not an option for you to be forced into.
But also, too, the low-hanging fruit here, soon on December 10, as soon as that rolls around, everyone who's under 16 now with an account, including your kids, goodbye.
Gone.
They're gone. Easy to find those ones.
That's right. It is easy because it says like you can use behavioural stuff to work it out. And by the way, Instagram is popping up all the time now saying help your teen to get the best security. I think that's them going, let's get all the parents to just dob in all the teenagers so that we've got a list, right?
Right.
Interestingly, I'm now annoyed that I set my kids up with the teen account profiles because it said one of the rules around reasonable efforts was if the account's been active for more than 10 years or its account was established for more than 10 years, then you can assume it's not a 16-year-old. Well, I set my kids' accounts up when they were born.
Hello. Really?
Their usernames, I created them like when they were born.
Well, yeah, that's actually not a bad point because...
But now we've nominated them as teenagers, Instagram knows.
Okay, so you dobbed your children in.
Correct.
So, they're not going to check everyone's age, right? No. Because I've had a Facebook account for 20 years.
And they know what you're looking at.
You're an old man. You're not.
They know what you're looking at, and they know you're an old man.
Yeah.
The fact that you're logging onto Facebook goes, he's an old man.
Star Wars stuff. He must be a teenager.
Yeah.
Kid.
They've seen you on Marketplace. They've seen you spending money. They know you're not a teenager. But they're still going to have the problem. There's a couple of things that the eSafety Commissioner did do well. Look, it's all been done well. Let's be clear. It's just our own personal disagreement with the concept of this thing. But they have stipulated they have to have strong, essentially customer service around people that get it wrong.
Absolutely.
So if a 16-year-old turns 16 on their birthday and they can't get their account, there has to be a method for them to go, hang on a minute, I should want my account back.
Let's hope that the government stands up for those people because how many times we've had many times in the past where people say, my Facebook account's been closed down and crickets. You don't hear nothing from Facebook. They try to get it up and nothing happening. So
they also say the companies have to continually innovate to stay ahead of the curve on circumvention measures. So
VPNs and false accounts.
If kids are finding a way around it, they have to keep ahead of that. Things like those.
Wow.
There's a lot of that stuff. So that's the kids' social media ban. I can't wait for it to happen because the number one most downloaded app on December the 11th will be Discord. Promise you that.
Discord, which is a messaging app. And
it's a group messaging app. I gave the example this week on the radio. There's no difference between a 14-year-old joining a Discord group with 300 people in it talking shit to having an Instagram account with 300 followers. There's no difference. It's the same thing. It's just a bunch of people talking and sharing stuff.
Could it reach a point where the government finally wakes up and goes, hang on a minute, Discord, what's doing? And they shut that down?
Because what will happen, and this is morbid, and I'm sorry that I say it, but a teenager will take their life and they'll uncover messages on Discord or some other platform and they'll go, wait, it wasn't social media?
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh,
I know.
Jesus, what happened here?
It's just, it strikes me, and we've been talking about this a lot, both together and separately on the radio and TV and stuff. It just strikes me that the government suddenly discovered there's undesirable content on the internet.
Yeah. Well, that leads us to the...
But you know what? No, before we talk about that, there's way worse stuff on the internet than social media.
Oh, my God.
You could look at some crazy shit on the internet.
Mate, the fact that we were able to watch that incident in America 2 weeks ago...
easily.
In brutal form...
Oh, I know. Yeah. And you reckon is that worse than social media?
I think seeing it is.
And... Yeah, I agree, and we're going to talk about now, porn. Do they know that there's been 30 years of the internet and porn's been on the internet?
Yeah.
Hello.
And so it's a funny thing. What's happening is it's not just the social media rules now. The government's actually been working on this secondary thing well before this social media ban came into place. That's why the government was looking at age assurance technologies and things like that.
Yeah.
But essentially, eSafety Commissioner has announced that industry codes covering adult content and extreme violence or self-harm will come into force in December and March this year, 2 tranches. In December, it will cover search engines, server hosts, and internet service providers. So basically, this is the story you might see on TikTok. People going, so to use Google, I've got to give my ID. No. Yeah. But if you want to have an account on Google search, so you're logged into a Google account and you want to nominate that safe search is off so I can see the good stuff, then they have to have some age assurance technology built in.
Is that in your account? If you're a Google account?
It's in your account, right? Yeah. So to have an account, to have a login.
So we're fine.
We're fine. You can still search the internet and see the rubbish, but it'll be filtered. It'll be blurred by default. Right. Fine, just click unblur, whatever.
Yep.
In March, this rule will cover websites
so
and social
specific
media
sites.
and other services.
So your OnlyFans visit, you're going to...
No. Interestingly,
Yeah.
I read this, and I'm reading off this off The Guardian. OnlyFans is a great example. They probably won't have to do age verification because it's a paid service. They'll know you've got a credit card. They're essentially...
Of course.
They've essentially already done some form of age verification.
That makes sense.
Right?
That makes sense.
Broadly.
Yep.
But... explicit porn websites where you can just go and say, yes, I'm over 18, and yes, I want to see this stuff, and yes, I want to search for that.
Now you're going to have to prove your age.
Well, yes.
Show your face.
This is how it's broken down by The Guardian. The eSafety Commissioner said the method of verification is up to those companies as long as it's deemed appropriate age assurance.
Right.
So that can be confirmation by a parent or a photo ID, but they can't be required.
So I've got to ring my mum up to tell them that I'm over
she's
age?
worried about you. I heard it earlier today. Facial age estimation, credit card checks, digital identity wallets, or age inference based on behaviour. Now, age inference based on behaviour on Facebook and Instagram is really easy because you can go, the kid's been looking at birthday parties, Age inference on Pornhub?
Yeah.
Do young people look at a different style of porn to older people?
Yeah.
How are they inferring
probably
age?
Not. Yeah, I know. Probably not.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
But people are going to freak out because they're going to be like, if you want to access this, you need to give us a credit card.
Do you remember years ago when the notion was we're going to create a filter? Remember the filter?
The internet filter, yeah.
And
everyone
went
blew
nowhere.
No.
And it sort of worked sometimes, but mate, everyone just ignored it. And now they're talking, we need age verification.
Here's the thing.
I
don't have a problem with this.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem isn't social media. It's the phone. If your kid has one of these, they can look at some stuff they probably shouldn't be looking at. Yeah?
Yeah.
And when we were kids, you'd go to the newsagents and you might be able to pick up a picture magazine without anyone asking a question.
Sneak a peek, yeah.
But if you grabbed a more explicit X-rated magazine, it was wrapped in plastic and you couldn't buy it. The bloke behind the counter would just say, mate, bugger off, you're not over 18. There was a limit. There was a level. There was a filter around it.
Yeah.
Why does that not exist now? Why do people on the internet think they have a right to just open access to hardcore pornography without verifying how old they are?
But why? My question is this again: why didn't the government react to this years ago? And instead of prioritising social media as the big bad wolf.
Well, the word from people reporting on this is they were planning this before.
Okay.
The social media thing just happened to coincide and be timely.
It was a bipartisan response.
Also, yeah.
And the I know Labor floated it, and there's no way the coalition could say, no way, that's rubbish.
No.
There's no way they could oppose it.
Yeah.
So it was on. And of course, News Corp heavy campaign to get this through, and they've succeeded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look,
let's see how it's reported on December 11.
I saw Whipper on the Today Show earlier in the week, and look, he's very well media trained in the messaging of this 36-month thing because they're going to the UN to sell this to the world, right?
Yeah.
And look, it's absolutely reasonable what he says. We just want our kids to be kids until they're 16 or whatever, but it doesn't change the fact that if you really want your kids to be kids till they're 16, don't give them a phone till they're 16.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Is Whipper going to give a kid a phone when they go to high school?
Yes, or I did with mine.
I would suggest he does not, because when they get a phone, they're going to be exposed to some pretty horrific stuff on the internet.
Exactly right. We're talking like there's a lot of that stuff you can see, not just on social media platforms, but you look hard enough, you'll find a lot of pretty gross stuff.
Twitter, theoretically, by March, has to have some way of blocking the harmful and inappropriate content that exists on their platform. I don't know how Elon's going to do that.
Like all the clips you're talking about from what happened last week. 90. I saw all of them on X, on Twitter.
Same.
Yeah,
I logged on
Twitter.
I logged on just to find that stuff because I'm an idiot.
It's morbid curiosity. Yeah, I know, but that was and it was disturbing how many angles. Well, you think about it. There's 3,000 people all with a phone.
There's probably a lot more angles.
There's more. There's probably worse angles that we haven't seen.
Yes.
So that was a no-brainer. But it's the other thing that struck me was, and this is like part of the deal here, was the people who were celebrating it. Remember they were all called out, and there was one woman who was sort of dancing around, whatever, and they found out that her husband owned an electrical shop in San Diego, and they were picketing out the front of the shop and going into the shop and just trying to cancel all these people, and successfully, right?
Yeah.
People on Twitter are crying, "Oh, I lost my job," because of what they did. Unbelievable, including Australians, some Australian commentators and influencers, whatever, online personalities in the shit as well because of their reaction to it too.
I'm not across that because I don't go on Twitter.
Mate, I'll tell you off air who it is.
Excellent. I hope it's someone I hate.
Maybe.
I could name some names. Anyway, the story is simple. You are going to have to prove how old you are somehow to access pornography.
Especially
from March next year.
if you want the chicken and corn, you're going to have to produce some ID or show your face or something. Get your mother to verify you.
This will be an unpopular opinion, but just make it my ID, the government thing. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Just let me click my ID, I'll verify and I'm done.
Yeah, exactly right.
And what people don't realise is that's great because what happens in that trend, this is why the digital ID is amazing but will never take off, right? In a simple term, Pornhub.com, yes, I'm old, yes, I'll verify with MyGov ID. Pornhub just goes, is this a real person? Are they over 18, yes or no? MyGov ID says yes, they are. They go, cool, you're in.
Yeah.
There's no record of... I mean, there might be a record at MyGov that I went to Pornhub. I don't know.
The only
who
worry,
cares? I don't care.
The only worry is that one of the forms of ID is a credit card verification.
But that's why I'm saying digital ID is the perfect solution to this.
The other way of doing it is I wouldn't be comfortable giving them my credit card details. I'm thinking,
that's why I'm saying digital ID is the perfect solution for all of us.
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah,
but people will go up in arms because that's the government's. Malcolm Roberts, who's a complete lunatic. I've interviewed him. Complete lunatic. I interviewed him about the social media ban. He was talking about other rubbish like currency stuff. It was.
Wow.
Stupid. No, I interviewed him about the digital ID.
Yeah.
Mate, just went off on a tangent, just talking about like stupid stuff.
Wow.
People will fight the digital ID like they fought the Australia card and they're mad.
Yeah.
But anyway, look forward to you proving your ID next March.
And you.
I've never been to these websites.
I have to give hey, Mum, do you reckon you could do me a little favour?
Can I have your login? Hey Doris, what's your Google account?
Come on, what are you doing, Doris? I need you to verify. Can you just tell these people I'm 18?
I just got an email.
But I've got her email address details. I'll be fine.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll be fine.
All right. Speaking of Doris, drive home safely, Stephen.
I will, mate. Yeah, she said. Are you still recording?
Stephen rang his mum, been between shows earlier.
Yeah.
I could hear her.
It's dark.
And she goes, take care driving home in the dark.
Yeah. It's like I've never done it before in my life.
It was the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, I know.
It's so cool.
There's my mum for you.
Happy 700, mate.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Well
Good
done.
work.
We nailed it.
Good luck to you.
What are we doing? We're going to 20 years. We worked out we wouldn't get to 1,000, though.
I believe that was the agreement.
Yeah, we worked out we wouldn't get to 1,000.
Minimum 20 years.
Oh, there it is, baby.
Was that what we said?
I figured we'd just pull the pin.
Wow.
Imagine that. Just pulling the pin.
Wow. It'd be a solid dent in our income, that's for sure. You know,
I hope that is that's my retirement is podcasting. I just hope people keep listening.
Yeah, exactly. You will. It's
because you're allowed to on the pension. You're allowed to. Well, you won't. You'll be too rich to be on the pension. But for those of us on the pension, you're allowed to work like 5 hours a week or something. Oh, it's like fine. We can squeeze
That's
five shows.
Yeah, mate.
What are you talking about?
I'll just put my self-funded retirement aside for a while to help you out, mate. To facilitate to top up your pension. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, good.
All right. It's been great.
See you, mate.
It's been 700
next 700
cracking shows. Let's do it all again next week and
one,
for the next 700 weeks plus.
Yeah, 760 actually.
Yeah. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.